call me this morning
Oh,
to
they did?
say how impressed they were with my broker, that she spoke Portuguese and they could understand everything that she was saying, and they were so impressed. And the wife turned to me and said, I sure hope he goes with you and he does not do whatever else that he's planning on doing.
Yay! That's so exciting. And
So
she
thank you,
could
Karen.
understand my Portuguese.
Yeah.
Because I
So thank you.
remembered as I'm sitting there, it's been a while since I've been speaking Portuguese.
Well, they understood everything, and thank you so much.
So awesome. Thank you.
Well,
What?
did that come today too? Yeah. Oh, well, that doesn't help if we just.
Okay, did everybody get the attachments on this invite? There are a bunch of attachments. I'm going to open some and we can look at it.
Your
And
eyebrows.
Tony, if you want to, you can download them as well.
Okay, I see them. Okay.
Oh, I was in the wrong calendar. I see it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be today's calendar.
I have it.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, let's get that baby open up. All
Good
right.
morning.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? We're going to get started in just a moment. I still got a bunch of people jumping on. So how many of you are new to my listing presentation training?
Me.
Good.
Me.
All
Me.
right. So when we talk about listings, right, we're going to talk about the way I like to do a listing and why I like to do the listing this way. But again, I understand everybody is an independent contractor, right? If you choose to do a listing a different way, that's totally cool. I'm going to share with you what I have found to really work and why I have found it to work, but you pick and choose whatever you want, right? That's the beautiful thing about all these trainings. Pick and choose the things that make sense to you, the things that don't, or you're like, I don't even get that. Don't worry about it, right? It's all about just making you better. So we're going to jump right in. Hold on, still. Oh, Mr. Jaime's hopping on. Look at that. We got also, I got Carrie on here, Maria. Look at that. Nick, Kelly. Oh, look, Tony's in Paris again. Although yet right next to her. Listen, I love Paris. Who else on this call does not love Paris? I love it. Oh, Paris is so beautiful. And the food is so great. I would weigh 300 pounds. Yep, it's good that I don't weigh that.
Butter. They put butter on everything.
Oh my God, those croissants, please stop it. And then in Italy, the cappuccino, oh, forget it. I'm in trouble. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk a little bit about the whys we do things. So everybody has this, right? The listing presentation. Did I put the Zoom number on that? Special. Okay, everybody with me? All right, I'm just gonna make sure I see my participants because as people jump on, I don't want them sitting there waiting and they can't commit. All right, so first thing I wanna ask to the group, ready? How many of you, now listen, if you've taken this presentation with me before, you're not allowed to speak here. How many of you toured the home first? Tony says yes. Anybody? Jill says yes. I can't see everybody because okay, I got, so some of you. All right.
Say yes.
All right, I don't. And I'm going to share with you why. There are 2 points during a listing presentation where the tension and the stress gets the highest. Anybody like to share with me what those are?
Somebody's looking.
Unmute and come talk. Not looking at the house.
The price and the
The
commission.
commission.
Price and commission. Exactly. So
Yay.
you see the home first, right? And then you sit down and you go through the marketing and commission, and then you go through the pricing. You're just beating them over the head, right? Stress, tension, stress, tension. And I guarantee you, if you do that, that's probably a lot of times you'll get the we need to think about it. I hate that we need to think about it. So, you know, we have conditions or we have actual things. Like sometimes there's just stalls. We need to think about it. Means I didn't understand what the heck you said. I'm still stuck in the fact of the commission that I don't feel good about, or I still don't feel that you could sell my home. A lot of times that we need to think about it means I have not gotten all my answers. Or if it's, I might want to trade my home for 2 properties and a cow in Brazil, that's a different story. That could be a real condition. That, by the way, Jules, was a new one on me. Yes, in Brazil, apparently they trade their homes for all sorts of crazy things.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. But typically that's not the case. So I like to start by going to the kitchen table first. Also, if I had run that listing presentation, I would have gone to a table. Because I feel like, especially if the table's round, we're all together, but I feel like at a table, if I need to pull out materials and supplies, it's not going to look weird. I'm not dragging it out of my bag and then trying to reach over. So I like to go to the kitchen table. That's a carry. Up to you, but that's usually, you know, if they're like wanting to take you to the living room, I say, would you mind if we sit down at the table? I say that a lot. And I just feel that it's a more comfortable scenario to pull your stuff out. Does that make sense? Jen Hartnett's in the house. Woo, woo. Okay, we got more people. I love it. So I go to the kitchen table, and the whole point of this first thing is to understand their needs and wants, right? Motivation, number one. But again, guys, if you did an excellent listing presentation consultation beforehand, you know a lot of these things. So really what you're trying to do is gain rapport, right? If somebody does not feel comfortable with you, has not become your friend, they're not going to listen to anything you say. So people who jump in and get started in marketing or telling them about themselves or telling them about the company or whatever they do, these folks aren't listening. They're like not, connected to you. So I'm going to share with you, there's a couple things. Obviously we have questions. Why are you moving? Where would you like to be sold and closed? What happens if you don't get there? Right? These are all good questions you have right here on understanding your needs. We also have them on the listing presentation consultation. Hey, Peter! Got another person in the house. So exciting. But I do want to know things like what's important to you and the company that you bring on to partner with to help sell your home. They're going to tell you, what, have you sold before? How did that go? Share with me what you loved about it. Share with me what you wished you would have changed. By the way, I wouldn't throw that in one question. I'd separate it, right? Because they're going to tell you exactly how they want you to handle, how they want you to do communication, how often they want to hear from you. You might find out these people want you to be at every showing and it's like 300,000. And you might go, well, I need to cut that one right away. So when you're doing your presentation, how to slip that in, right? If you didn't know that this $300,000 customer wants you to be at every showing and you get to the end and they throw it at you and you're just like really trying to get the listing at this point, you might just say yes. Dear God, don't do that. 300,000 show, I would shoot myself. So you have to know these things ahead, right? And so that's the beautiful thing. Now, another thing I'm going to share is called, it's part of neuro-linguistic programming, and it's matching and mirroring, right? Has anybody on the call never heard of that? Matching and mirroring. Have not heard of it. Anybody? Everybody? Okay. Well, I need you guys to let me know because I can't see everybody. So we're going to come off of the screen share for a second. We're going to do a little exercise. What? Okay. So if you're matching and mirroring, I'm going to do it with Tony. Let's see. Can you see Tony and I? Right? Let's say we are at a listing presentation, which I'd rather call a listing conversation. Oh, I get nice lighting. Oh, look at me. I just got younger.
You're
Paris too now. I'm like, where's
I'm ordering one of these like today.
Okay, I just had a little fun there. So
We're here and we're there.
we're everywhere. Okay, look how much better I look with your light. I need one of those things. Okay, anyway. Right? Seriously, it's so scary. So sorry, that was very distracted. Oh, Peter. Oh no, he was on, he's off. Okay, I don't know. So let's say we're in a listing consultation, or what I like to call a listing conversation, and we're trying to build rapport, right? We're sitting at the kitchen table. I want to him, some people are just like, God, I liked those folks. I felt like a connection. It's because you're communicating in the same way. So a lot of that goes down to, are these people visual people, right? 80% of the population is visual, by the way. And these are folks who talk fast, who see pictures. They see big pictures. When they dream in color. They dream like a movie. You guys can all figure out that I'm obviously a visual, right? There's certain words we use. I'll see you later. Look forward to seeing you, right? You might notice I use those words a lot because that's who I connect with. Now, you have folks that are auditory. If anybody can recognize an auditory person that you've worked with, because I had this one music teacher and it used to always throw me off because he'd go like this and he'd be looking at me, but not looking at me, like looking through me. And I'd always be, is he talking to me? Like, should I answer that question? He's auditory. He's listening in his head. So his eyes are like dull. They're like, you know, because he's not focusing on anything. He's listening in his head to how he feels about it, right? That's how he's interpreting. So look forward to hearing from you. You know, these are the people who are going to be using words like that. Now you have the kinesthetic folk. God help. I don't do well with these folks. They talk slow. They have to see how they feel about it. So these are people who tend to kind of maybe touch their arms, touch their legs. They're seeing emotionally how they feel about the conversation, how they feel about how that's happening. So a perfect example is, God help me, married to the same man for 23 years, and about 2 years ago, it dawned on me, I married a kinesthetic man? What the hell's wrong with me? Well, we're at a party, something happened. We were talking about it on the way home in the car. I'm talking about how they looked, how their stances changed, how they kind of got up next to each other in a weird way. He's talking about how he felt, the feelings in the room, how the tension rose. I'm like, what the hell? Were we in the same place? Like, I don't. That's a kinesthetic person. Totally. I felt like we were talking about two different things that happened, right? Yeah. This is important to understand. We don't know what your seller is going to be. We don't know if they're visual. We don't know if they're auditory. We don't know if they're kinesthetic. Thank you. So with that said, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we bring materials for all type of people, right? Okay. So your visual people, you're going to need some flashy things for them to look at and see. I love an iPad. You know, a tablet is much better than a laptop. I don't like, boom, let's get started. Horrible. Hey, Peter, you joined the listing presentation class? I can't even believe it. This is so exciting. So you could come in the room too if you want. Anyway, so it's really important to have something for them to see, to visually get them engaged. You need auditory. You know the people that you just sit there and talk to? Well, listen, if you do that with me, you've lost me because I'm a visual. So I'm going to tune you out. So you think this is going so great. We had such a great conversation because you're auditory. That's how your major mode of communication is. I'm not. So, you know, I'm going to be the person who says I need to think about it, and you're going to say, what the heck happened, right? Because you think it went so great.
Well, I do love that tree. It's little, but I like it. Oh, it's awesome.
Ellie. There we go. Okay, so, thanks guys. The other thing is, what do you bring for a kinesthetic? Anybody?
It wasn't
right.
They need to touch things.
Yes,
That's
right.
our listing presentation. That's our beautiful brochures. You want to always keep lots of goodies in your bag. So if you find a kinesthetic person, and you'll know, because these are people who are always touching things. You know, like my kids sometimes are like that. And I'm like, geez, they're kinesthetic too. That's terrible. Now, a lot of times we will communicate in a variety of different platforms. You know, we're not just 100% visual or 100% kinesthetic. So if you're somebody who likes to touch things, give them brochures to touch. Hand them out early so that they feel comfortable during the presentation that they're getting that part taken care of, because those people need to be touching and feeling things to be able to pay attention, right? Because if they're not doing that, you've lost them. So the time that you're at that table, you're trying to figure out what kind of communicator do you have? Do you have a visual person in front of you? Do you have a kinesthetic? Do you have an auditory? You need to know how to adjust this presentation based on who's with you, right? So that's the other thing. So the fact that you knew a lot of the stuff about their major motivating factors is awesome, because now you can go into the deeper. So share with me what it's like in New York. And some of these times you're just trying to get an idea of how they're communicating, right? And now this gives you an opportunity to build rapport. I always am going to tell you, have a notepad with you always. You need to be writing down their exact words. They are communicating in the words that make sense to them, right? So if I keep talking about, you know, for example, a word I might use, I use my brother, for example. He loves to say, at the end of the day. And every time I use it, I think, oh my God, there's Chris's saying again.
Still a phrase.
At the end of the day. So I know if I want to wrap my brother up because he's kind of going on a little too long, I just throw, you know, you're so right, Chris. At the end of the day. And he's like, oh yeah, she gets me. We're there. Okay. He doesn't have to talk for 10 more minutes. Thank God. Okay, we're good. I love them, but you know, sometimes. So that's what you're looking for. You're looking for key phrases, for ways they're describing things. Write those exact things down. You're going to be using that throughout the presentation. Those are going to be very helpful for you when they get to that moment of tension, to bring them back to a place that they're comfortable. You're going to use their words, right?
Yes.
So that's crucial. Now, we want to make sure that they're starting to feel like we are in sync. So that's where matching and mirroring comes in. So if I sit down and present, now here's the thing, I'm going to tell a little story because some of you guys are new. I'm going to tell it into this beautiful thing here because it's like got so much nice color. Okay. So if, for example, I wanted to share with you a story of how this works, neuro-linguistic programming. I had a trainer, my coach for neuro-linguistic programming. Her husband always called her, you know, what crazy thing are you doing now? Well, he was into advertising. He had a small advertising company, did some great work. And in New York, they had this huge project. And this project, they were hiring one person to do this enormous project, but they were very specific about the type of person they wanted. So he was so excited he had the opportunity, but he had first shot. So they were seeing like 5 people. So first and last position are usually the strongest, right? But he was like, okay, I have to leave a huge impression because I am going first. You can forget about me if he gets good people. So he said, show me your voodoo. That's what he used to call it. So she said, listen, you've got to match a mirror. So what does that mean? That means when you sit down with him, can you guys see me and Tony here? You're going to sit in the same fashion that he's sitting, right? He's leaning back. He's got his leg crossed, his arms crossed. You've got to do this very naturally. If you do it uncomfortably, like you're constantly changing, it's going to look really weird, okay? So body language is very easy to match. Another thing that's easy to match, and you should do it as soon as you get there, is the tonality of their voice. Do they speak high? Do they speak low? Do they have a very soft, casual tone? Just like me, right? I know. Okay, now. Anyway, so you want to match that tonality. You want to match the speech pattern. Some people talk really, really fast, and then they breathe, and then they talk really fast. So I'm not saying do it where you can't even get yourself understood, but try to match the patterns that they speak in. Those are the easier things that you can start to do that they won't notice. This is so weird. What the hell is she doing, right? So as you're talking, and so he did this when he went in, he sort of matched the breathing. The guy took long, deep breaths. He spoke very purposefully, but short phrases. He started doing that. His tonality was lower, so he lowered his voice a bit. And they were in conversation. He sat down, he crossed his legs as the guy did, and the guy picked up a cigar rather. Well, he didn't have a cigar, so he just picked up his pen and he started holding it the same way the guy was holding the cigar. And they're in conversation. So at one point, he got really invested in the conversation. He dropped his pen. Well, the guy dropped his cigar. That means that's called a match. They are now following you. End of story. He ends up leaving. The guy's like, it was so great meeting you. Thank you so much. He gets down from the 48th floor to the elevator, and the guard stopped him. He said, I'm sorry, sir, can you go back up? He thought, what did I forget? He went back up. The guy said, you know what? I don't need to see anybody else. You and I have connected on such a level. I really feel you understand where I'm coming from. You get the job. True story. So that is neuro-linguistic programming. That is the power of matching and mirroring. So it's a great thing, and you can do it over the holidays because you're going to see maybe people, right? Try to do it so they don't know. If someone's like, what the hell are you doing? You're doing a bad job. Okay, so you want to make sure that as you're matching and mirroring, you're looking for smaller things. So if it was Tony, I would cross my arm, right? I would be kind of just, you know, casually. Don't do it as soon as they do it because that's also weird. And when you feel like you might be in a rhythm, you test it. So if I was doing with Tony and I thought that we were finally in a really good rhythm, I might put my arm down. If he puts his arm down, I am now in the lead. Does that make sense? So at the beginning, he's the lead and I'm following him. It's matching and mirroring. I test it by changing to see if he followed. Maybe I just lean back in my chair. If he leans back or if I move forward, if he does that, I know we are now in sync. It's at that moment I will start my listening presentation. I will not start my listening presentation before that because there's no point. They're not paying attention. If you really want somebody to, you know, get what you're trying to explain to them and have this conversation with them, you have to be in sync. Does that make sense? Okay, the people in the room say yes, so we're going on. Yes. All right, woo! All right. Yeses. Get a couple yeses. All right. Okay, so that's matching and mirroring. Oh, he took the light away. Now I look yucky and old again. Oh, thank you, Johnny. He gave it back. I'll take the loud noise because I look younger, so it's good. All right, so everybody clear on matching and mirroring. Any questions? I'm a neurolinguistic programming practitioner. There's a lot more to neurolinguistic programming that I'd love to train you all on. One of them is triggers. Triggers are so critical. They can really help you not only in your own personal life when you get to a moment of stress to really relieve yourself very quickly. It can help you bring your customers back from a moment of stress. And that's why we're kind of trying to use their words as a trigger. So that way, if we notice there's certain things that make them feel comfortable or they're really excited about, you know, if I'm super excited about the birth of my grandbaby, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm going to use the birth of your grandbaby. I might not say grandbaby. I might say grandchild or whatever. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say it exactly as you say it. Because if I say, oh, that's so exciting, you're having a grandchild born, it doesn't have the same connection, right? But if I say, oh my God, the birth of your grandbaby, you know, and sometimes some people are so good at this, they start matching the accent. My mother doesn't know she does it, but I'm telling you, she talks to a British person at the end of the conversation. I think she's from Britain. I'm like, what the hell, Mom?
I get accused of that all the time, especially when we go out to eat. My wife's like, stop.
So some of us are natural at it anyway. We don't even know we're doing it. And you want this to be as natural as possible, but you need to do it purposefully because you want to make sure that you have connected before you move on to the rest of the presentation. Sound good? Okay, so the more that you can talk about family, where they're going, why they want to get there, what happens if they don't want to get there. Tell me more about, have you found a space there? Like deep, third, fourth, fifth tier questions. First of all, they're now in a personal level, right? A lot of this is not just, this is my home, it's 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom, I want to get this price per square foot. Like that keeps it very on surface. It's very easy to say no to that person, right? So remember, there's two things that combat each other. One is logic and one is emotion. We need to get emotion in the beginning so that we can use that when they start to get too logical and nervous. We can throw the emotion in there to remind them why they want to move, why they need to sell their home in 30 days to be there for the birth of the grandbaby. So why that pricing is going to be important, because otherwise, remember, you shared with me, if you weren't there in those 30 days, you would never forgive yourself, and nor would your daughter, right? So these are things that you can use later. That's what you're doing. You're in an exploratory mission, trying to figure out a couple things. Are they visual, auditory, kinesthetic? Like what kind of person are they? How are they going to communicate? You got to know what to pull out of the bag, right? Number two, what is really, truly motivating them to make this move? Because the reality is people get very surface on that. We need to dig deep to understand why. Well, we want to move. Why? Because we can get a lot of money for a home now. Okay, what are you going to do with that money? Oh, we're going to buy a new home. Oh, fabulous. What are you hoping to change with this new home? Oh, we hate the fact that there is no formal dining room. What the hell's wrong with you? No, anyway, but whatever that case is, right? We need to dig down. Oh, so you do a lot of entertaining. No, but I want to use the dining room for my crafts. I mean, like, who would have ever thought that, right? So the point is, we've got to really get to know these people, and we can do that at the same time we're trying to match and mirror them, because it's very easy to carry on that kind of conversation. Then remember the great stats and figures about Sotheby's, right? While you're trying to match and mirror. Not a good plan. Okay, good on that? Everybody clear? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to show this with you. On,
What did you say for auditory to bring?
Oh, an auditory person likes to listen, is a talker.
Okay.
An auditory person, by the way, loves to talk.
Yeah.
They love to hear them self-talk.
Okay.
So when you understand that they're an auditory person who wants to hear them self-talk, you're going to have to know how to cut them off and not make them feel insulted. That's the biggest problem about an auditory person. But the other thing is they're going to remember stuff like, for example, they don't want to be in this house because when they go outside, they hear the noise of the road. Right? They don't like the fact that the air conditioning is too loud and they hear this whistle, so they don't want to buy their bedroom. These are things that you got to think third, fourth tier, how that auditory could affect you when you're either finding them a new home or reminding them of why they want to sell. Now, I remember you said that you just can't wait for a good night's sleep. And if you had to stay one more night with that air conditioning humming right by your bed, and now that we're going into the cold season, the heat's even worse, isn't it? Right? So it's just about understanding and then being able to use this when you need it. Okay, so this is the transition from discovery to marketing plan. To me, this is the most important time for you to set expectations. We want this to feel communication. We want it to feel like a conversation rather, but you need to be in control of this. This can't go off, because if the moment you start getting off into a conversation, you've lost the entire point of this. So what we're gonna do for this, and I'm going to unshare for a second, that is the text of how you could use it. Use it any way you want. The most important thing is what you're going to cover. So for first, I'm going to actually demonstrate this, okay? Everybody ready? By the way, I am recording this for anybody who might want to know. Okay, I'm going to do it with Jen. So we've been talking about her grandbaby, which would be really funny because she shouldn't be having a grandbaby. Really awkward because she's way too young for that. And I'm going to say, so you were 10 when you had your first shot. So we're having a conversation. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. The easiest way to transition is to say something like this. You know, it's so funny, Jen. People ask me all the time, what does it take to sell a home? And you know, there's really only 5 things. What do you think the most important thing about selling your home would be?
The price.
The price. Absolutely, because everybody's searching for the price, right? Yeah. Now, who do you think gets to set the price for your home? Like what they would say.
I do.
Yeah, no. You would think so, but no, you don't get to set the price. I don't get to set the price. Even the buyer doesn't get to set the price. A buyer could walk in here today and say, oh my gosh, I love this home. It's beautiful, which it is. And I want to give you $1 million for it. But the bank might come in here and say, based upon the other sales in this community with similar bedrooms and similar bathrooms and similar square foot, I'm sorry, that is not what we're going to loan to you. So it is actually the market that sets your home. Now, good news. The next thing is terms and conditions. You get to pick that. So you're totally in control of that. So you get to determine, do you want to make this for cash people only, or maybe VA as well? Maybe you want to open it up to have broker opens or perhaps virtual open houses. We're going to talk about all those different things, but you're in the driver's seat. You get to pick that. Now, condition is critical, as you can imagine, and you've done an amazing job here. This home is spotless. But again, this one's on you, because I'm not going to be here to put the cookies in the oven before they come. So you just got to keep up the great work you're doing. Now, the next one, we always heard what? Location, 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 right? And that was you when you bought the home, but now you can imagine the buyers get to choose that. So this is where we need to work together. We're a team. I need you to share with me all the reasons why you lived here, what you love about living here. And we're going to use that for the public remarks. Great idea, guys, by the way. So we get so sick and tired of writing those things. We're going to use those in the public remarks because people don't care about what I think. They want to know what you think. What was the experience of living here? Okay, so I told you there's 5 things it takes to sell a home, right? We've covered 4. I haven't even done anything. You're wondering why I'm sitting here. Well, the good news and the most important thing that it takes to sell your home is exposure. And that is exactly why I partnered with Premier Sotheby's International Realty. There you have it, right? So questions? Thoughts?
I want to buy a house now.
Perfect. Sold.
You did really well. Thank you.
Okay. The key with this is you hit price first. And if they don't go to price, which I don't know anybody who wouldn't understand that the price is the most important thing, you have to say, well, what do you think buyers and sellers are, buyers are searching by? Obviously, they're searching by price, right? We know that. So the most important thing is we're setting the expectation right now that they don't get to pick that price, right? Which is why in a listing consultation, I don't ask, how much do you think the house should sell for? I never ask them that. I don't want to know what they think. I want to know how much you were hoping to get to know if we're going to be off or not. But I'm not going to ask you that because you don't get to set that price. And I want them to understand I'm not setting the price either. It's the market, because no matter how good you are at this, you're never going to come in with the exact number. So you will always be wrong. And then if you need to get a price decrease, you were wrong. You told me it would sell for this. So if you make it about the market has changed. We need to adjust the price to adjust the market. It just takes all of that off of you, right? So that is the importance of number 1. Setting the price, the terms, and the conditions is good for 2 reasons. 1, people like to be in control, and they usually get a little bit uncomfortable when they realize they can't set the price for their home. So we get them to be in control again. We let them say, you're in control of this. And I just mentioned a couple of things because they do get to pick, are they going to be for cash only, or are they open to VA homes? This is a little bit of a slippery slope, though. I'm going to warn you right now. If people go, well, why should I not open it to a VA home? Don't get into a whole long conversation about how the VA inspection can be a bear and, hey, how's there, right? Don't get into all of that, because now you're going to get sidetracked, derailed, and you lost the whole point of the 5 things it takes to sell a home. We are trying to, A, take control of this listing presentation, number one, B, set the expectations, and it's very hard once you get derailed to get back in. So you can say, those are great questions, and we're going to go through all of that because you get to pick it and move on, right? So whatever they try to throw you off with, say, I couldn't agree more. That's a fabulous question. We're going to hit all of those things. Now, and just move on. It should feel conversational. Did you feel like I was like just throwing stuff at you, or did you feel like it was conversational? Jen said conversational, so I'm going with her. But you want it to feel that way, but it's really not. You're running the show here, okay? Now listen, I gave you some words. You don't have to say it like me. I like to think I'm a little bit of a comedian, but we don't all have to be. You have to just put this into your words and how you want to do it. The most important thing is you're telling them, number one, price is most important, and you don't get to pick it. It is set by the market. Number two, you do get to control the price, the terms, you get to control all that. Condition. Remember we talked about the $300,000 person that wants you to be at every showing? Who's putting the cookies in the oven? Ain't gonna be me, right? This is your opportunity. Now, on the converse side, if you think that this is somebody, it's $1 million, $2 million home, they're gonna want you there for every showing, you can say the condition of the home, obviously you're gonna keep this condition amazing, maybe we're gonna change a couple things, but I'm gonna be here before every showing to make sure that every feature is, turned on and ready, show ready. That is your opportunity to set that as well. So it doesn't have to be that I'm not gonna be there, it could be that I'm going to be there, and that's one of the benefits of my service, right? So you're going to pick and choose how you use that based upon the listing that you're in, right? Then we're going to go into location. What I love about location is they need to understand it's the buyer. The buyer is picking that, right? So we, as Premier Sotheby's, we are focused on selling their home. We need to get in the mindset of the buyer as to who would want to buy there and why, right? Which we're going to talk about a little bit more with that buyer profile. So the key thing here is we're letting them know that it's the buyer who's going to be selecting. So we need your help. What are we doing with that? We're putting them on our team. I'm not, it's not me against you. You're choosing me, but you don't want to pay me. We're working together. You've chosen to partner with me because we're going to make this a great experience and we're going to sell your home. So that's the critical part, in my opinion, on how you phrase that. But also, guys, great thing. A lot of sellers can share some fabulous insights that you didn't even know about that community, what they loved about living there. And those can be terrific in public remarks. I mean, how many times can we hear, as you enter into the huge soaring ceilings, boring, killing me. So, that's a great opportunity for you. The other thing I like to throw in sometimes is, and maybe if you let me videotape you, I'd love, because that's a great social media piece.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah, so set the stage. The more that you can tell them we're on this team together, you also did another thing. You assume the sale, right? They're already listing with you because we're working together. We're already doing your marketing plan. So that's another important part about the location. Now, however you want to set up the exposure is you. I like to be funny and say I'm sitting here and for what purpose, because I'm not doing anything, right? That's a me. You don't have to do that. But you can, the important thing is that they understand the most important job of a realtor, really our only job, guys, is the exposure, which is why it's so funny that so many realtors just throw it in the MLS and leave it, right? We don't do that. Our whole job is to get your home in front of the right people who can afford your home, right? That is imperative. So that's what we're letting them know. And it leads so beautifully into why you partner with Premier Sotheby's, right? So everybody good with that? How does everybody feel about the 5 things it takes to sell a home?
I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm completely new to the industry, so maybe I'm just not understanding this part. If you have somebody with a price point of $350,000 and then somebody with a price point of $2 million, what you want to still treat the one that's at $350,000 the same as the $2 million? Like I'm hearing you say, like doing all the showings for the higher price.
$350,000 home, you're going to get tons of showings. You don't want, you're going to run your whole life if you're at every showing.
Okay, so that would
be a total waste of your time. If it's a $2 million property, you got to make sure that that home is protected, and you have to give a different level of service because you need to make sure that the people who are showing the home understand all the features and benefits of that home, because that agent has never been there before, and they don't know that you have a thermal heated flooring, and they don't understand that you have this awesome security system that is, touch ID or whatever, right? So that's the other thing. You don't want to also be a hawk and follow people around, but you want to be able to share in a really conversational way. Oh, did you notice that your feet all warm and fuzzy because there's thermal flooring here, or whatever the case may be.
Okay.
You need to be able to be there for that. So
that would be why, because there'd be so many showings with the 350.
yeah, I mean, heck, if we could have the same amount of showings in a $2 million home,
Right, exactly.
fabulous, but that's not the reality, right?
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Everybody, how does everybody feel about the 5 things it takes to sell a home? Again, suggestion. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I have found through a long time that it really helps to set the expectations, and it really gives you that transition into the marketing plan without feeling like, okay, let's get started. Like, here we're having a nice conversation, but we've got to stop because this is really a listing presentation. Let's remind ourselves of why we're here. I'm trying to sell you something. Bad, right? We want to feel like we are in a conversation, we're working together, and so that helps with that. All right, so moving on, we're going to go on here, and I'm going to go back to what I've got here. I have listed a bunch of things that you're going to want to have with you in a listing presentation. In my opinion, this could be digital in the form of on an iPad. I love that. You could have printed. You could have both, depending on if you have a kinesthetic person or a visual person, right? If it's a visual person, I might just want to show you on the iPad. If you're kinesthetic, I'm going to hand you some things. But we're going to drop off that pre-listing package before, just give it to them, right? What we're going to go through in our blue folder is going to be things like have a copy of that list track report. If we're going to talk about how that works, isn't it better to show them? Show them, oh, you see here, these are all of the different types of ways that people are looking at your home. And this is also telling us the top 100 zip codes worldwide. Now here you can see there's certain Sotheby's offices where they've had so many people, they actually show up on our report. So now we can contact them, right? We can talk about that. But it makes a whole bunch more sense to just show them that. Does that make sense? Yep. So again, you could have a digital presentation like that. Like I have a digital on my page, on my website. Happy to make one for anybody or help you with one. Or Mo can do it with your own list track, with your own picture. Even if you don't have one, you can use one of ours and we'll just put your picture on it. But it is critical in my, thank you. It is critical in my opinion to show them. Telling is not selling, right? We need to show them what we're going to do because guys, we actually have all these things. Right. The Pulse report. Listen, the #1 complaint of a seller is that the agent put a sign in their yard and they never heard from them again until they came to pick up their check. Right? Have we all not heard that at one point or other? So the important thing is communication. So we're going to know that communication is important to them because I don't know anybody where communication is not important to. So we're going to know that. And when we bring out the Pulse report, we have an opportunity to say, in addition to hearing from us, you're going to get to see every week what we're doing. Remember, the Pulse report is about what we're doing. The list track report is the brand telling us how it's working. Right? Because just like we're working with them, we're a team. Premier works with Sotheby's, we're a team, right? So we want to make sure we're constantly creating those connections. Now, I love to have our flyers because they're beautiful. So that's a reason that you want to bring that. Have a folio, obviously. You could bring ads in the Sentinel or the Nona Hood News. That's fine. You can show some things if you're big in, say, Facebook or social media. Those are some examples. But to me, the critical ones are the list track and the Pulse report. We want to show. I also love the Boost. Right? And I'm going to show you at the end a little book that I created that shows all those things. But again, it really explains how Sotheby's is different. So I have some things in here for you. Worldwide. What does worldwide mean? These are some different ways you could say it. But to me, when you're in a listing presentation, you're starting that marketing part. You have to be able to quickly communicate, not just feature dump, communicate why Sotheby's is better for them. Right? Then why is Premier Sotheby's better for them? And why is working with you the best for them? Right? So you need those 3 value propositions to be very clear, short, and concise. So I suggest picking a couple, and it's going to vary based upon the price of the home, right? But for me, #1 for Sotheby's is always the worldwide exposure. So I could share with you, we're in 72 different countries and territories. That's a fact, right? What does that mean? Who cares? They don't care. So what's great about actually being in 72 different countries and territories is we have the opportunity through our list track report where we can see who in these other places, because of course we're advertising your home worldwide. Your home is going to not only be in the New York Times, where those people want to move down here. It's going to be in the Wall Street Journal. You know, the average income of the Wall Street Journal is $450,000. That is the type of customer we want to see in your home. Your home is going to be in the Juwai in China, the Nikkei in Japan, the Financial Times in India, the Country Life and the James Edition in the UK. It's going worldwide. But we need to know who's engaging with it. So we get to see from this list track report, boom, where they're coming from and what Sotheby's office is. Because again, having an office, you know, in Paris and seeing that they're there, we can contact the people and we can say, hey, I see that you've got a lot of folks that are interested in this property. What can I give you more materials to help you, you know, give that information to your customer? Because remember, first of all, they're translating in French, right? The buyer in Paris is very different from a buyer from Canada, even though they both may speak French, right? They have very different mindset. They have a very different need, a very different way to look at lifestyle. So it's critical to get the people who understand the mindset of the buyer working with us, right? I could translate something into, you know, Portuguese, maybe, right, Jules? And what I do is it really resonating with them in the way that they understand it, right? It's not just speaking someone's language, it's understanding the mindset of the people who live there. So if you're not connecting with our Sotheby's offices in other locations, you're missing the boat. And I'm going to share with you a story. Some of you have heard it. Maybe all of you have heard it, but I'm going to say it again because I love this. And this could be something that you show. Can you all see my Chrome now?
Yes.
Okay. I think, and Carrie, this is kudos to you, my friend. This should be part of everybody's listing presentation. This shows the power of the collaboration of our brand. And I can tell you about it, but it's a lot better to show you. So if I've just said that, you know, information about how we are in different countries and how we work together, I can say, for example, I had a colleague who noticed on their, $3.4 million property that Zurich Sotheby's, for example, was really showing a lot of interest. So we reached out to them, and as you can see, there's one home listed in the United States on their website, and that's ours, right? So that's huge, guys. This shows the power of the brand. By the way, Carrie, how much did you spend for that? Carrie. Okay, I'm going to tell you, free. We truly work together, right? So that is the power. For example, another thing, we had a home listed for $6.9 million in Lake Nona Golf and Country Club, and we found that a lot of Brazilians were really interested in that property. We translated it into Portuguese. We sent it down to Bossa Nova. We posted it on Facebook in Portuguese. These are things that we are going above and beyond that no other realtor is doing. I mean, do you know anybody from another company doing that? So I know. So that's the power of having a local presence in these locations, right? So for me, why Sotheby's? The second thing I always hit on is the auction clientele. The average net worth of an auction clientele is $850 million. Do you think those people can afford to buy any of the homes here in Central Florida? Yeah. They could buy any of them for vacation home, second, third, fourth property, right? Mm-hmm. Who is our average customer? Do you guys know? Okay, I'm going to tell you. Our average customer with Premier Sotheby's is second and third home buyers. It's not first-time home buyers. Not that we don't work with first-time buyers or people who are, relocating within the same area. We certainly do. But as a company, our strength lies in the fact that most of our customers, if you look at the base of our customers, are second and third-time home buyers. And that's why we're in North Carolina. We're also in Central Florida. We're down the coast because these people will have a place in the mountains, a place on the beach, and then, of course, they want a little place near Disney, right? $1.2 million, whatever, just buy the Disney so they can see the fireworks, because guess what? In Isleworth, you can see fireworks, can't you? Because you're in Windermere. So, but you don't have the same feeling of being in Kissimmee, right? So, now, not to say that we can't sell in Kissimmee, but my point is, who would you rather have purchase your home? And this is the thing. So I've had people who maybe their home is $350 and they say, well, why do I need that? I don't need my home to be shown all over the world. There's plenty of people here who can afford my home. You're exactly right. But let me ask you, Jen, Who would you rather have buy your home? Someone who lives here locally, maybe they're probably getting financing, they understand what our market is, they're probably going to negotiate a lot, or someone who saw your home online, who worked with one of our offices, who is going to come down here, maybe moving here, or perhaps just buying a second home cash. Who would you prefer?
The cash buyer, for sure.
Of course, guys, all day long. It's about finding more qualified people. Do we always get that? No. But do we have the opportunity of that? Yes. And for those of you who may not know, it is true at every auction event, which typically in a normal year, we do over 300 events every year. Every auction event, there's a real estate desk. And at every real estate desk, they only showcase Sotheby's listings. And any of our Sotheby's agents worldwide have the opportunity to go and work that real estate desk and talk and network with everybody there. And you would arrange that through Alex Romine. And by the way, if you're planning a trip and you happen to see that there's an event going on in London and you want to go out to London, what a great way to write your trip off. Just saying. Not that I'm an accountant, but.
Oh my gosh. My wheels are burning over right now.
Hello. Another thing is too, if you happen to go to Paris and you want to pop by the office in Paris, you can do that too. We'll contact the broker. I've got Alejandro Quayle going down to Panama, and he is going to be meeting the broker in Panama.
Do we have an office in Cabo?
I'm sure we do, but I gotta look. You gotta look on Sotheby's. So,
Okay.
but that Peter's saying yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I'm going in 2 weeks.
There you go. So reach out to Alex Romine, ask her who the broker is. She'll give you their information, and you can reach out and contact. And if you need my help, I'm happy to assist. But honestly, we all do this, guys. We all were. I've had people from other Sotheby's offices come to my meetings, come to my trainings. Absolutely. Why wouldn't I? We're one brand. We're one family. No other brand does this. So this is huge. So for me, again, why Sotheby's? I love the exposure, but it's not that we're in the countries. It's what does that mean to the customer? And I love the fact that we have a direct connect to our auction clientele that they don't have from other companies. You could have a $10 million property, or Shaquille O'Neal's house is not listed with us now. Guess what? That's not going in front of any of our auction clientele. Not that they can't find it on the internet, but they're not being fed that information because it's not a Sotheby's listing. That's huge. That's huge. It's like having the market share, right? People want to see from people they know and trust. And if there are auction clientele, they're constantly receiving things only from Sotheby's. So that's a huge feature. So that's the why to me. Then if you have different ones, we can look back over here. I've got other things, but worldwide is huge. Keeping you informed, having your own website. These are some great things. But to me, those are the big ones. Now, for me also, when we're talking about why Premier, okay? Anybody know why they would say why Premier? Why would you tell a customer that this is why you chose to work with Premier? I have two people in the room and it's still quiet.
Along with the fact that we have global access, the global access is also to the capital, right? So you want qualified buyers. You don't want just anyone showing up and wanting your $3 million home in Windermere and just taking it their word that they have the capital from China. You know, you want someone that can vet buyers.
I love how you're thinking, but I would roll that into Sotheby's. So you could totally use that, but I would still use that with Sotheby's because our whole thing is worldwide with Sotheby's. Premier Sotheby's, guys, we have a marketing team. We have a whole marketing company within our company. Do you know any other company that actually has a PR division?
No.
We have a PR division. Peter, how many places did the Blue Holtz's home appear with PR that was free? Oh, you're muted. I'm mute. All right. We still can't hear you. Okay.
It was a lot. I would say probably 20 to 30.
Yeah. LA Times, the New York Times. It went all over the place.
And I had friends that just saw the article, like random, not like even from my emails, that just texted me out of the blue, and they're from other states. They're like, Peter, great job in Lou Holtz's house. So it is. The PR is great on that overall. I mean, you got to get with the PR and get it out, Elise, and get it out.
Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah. What's your question?
I think it's a good idea, like for more, I don't know, unique homes to show even like Mode's emails where she's always asking like I'm looking for a home with like a library.
So that's a great
and
question. Jen asked, if you have a unique home you're going to see, do you think it'd be worthwhile to talk about like Mode's emails? I'm looking for a home that's showing XYZ all day long.
Yeah.
Because that shows our PR department is constantly looking for stories. And we are getting to shop these stories to huge major publications nationwide, guys. That's incredible. You know, it's one thing to put an ad in the paper. People know you put that ad in the paper. To have somebody else, independent, write about that property, that is priceless exposure, really. And guess what? We had a historic home in Ocala, and the price point was maybe $550. I don't even know. It wasn't really high. But that home was featured on Ghost Hunters. Yeah. By the way, which was kind of freaky. But anyway, but we got a ton of PR off that.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the person who ended up buying it loved that whole fact, which is good because that's weird, right? But anyway, but that's the important thing. Who else has that? When you're on a listing presentation, we're trying to show how we're different. We don't need to talk about MLS.
Right.
Everybody puts it in MLS. We don't need to talk about Zillow. Of course, everybody's in Zillow, right? So that's, who cares? What are we doing different? The other thing, when you talk about our marketing team, we understand your home is unique and your marketing materials should be too. So when your neighbors are all having an open house and they're doing flyers from RPR or Cloud CMA, will our flyers ever look like that? No. They are custom done. I mean, even within, if you did it from your website, you have what, 6 different choices of layouts, but could you at any time ask marketing to create a completely customized flyer for you? Yeah. For free in any language you want. You just got to be able to translate it. So that is the key. Nobody else offers that, right? Nobody else offers the kind of marketing that we do. We are going to create customized pieces because we understand your home. People are going online to eliminate your home. We have to make sure that your home looks so different to everybody else's that people can actually experience what it'd be like going through your home. So when we actually get our photography, if we do aerial or drone or we do Matterport, we're doing it because we want people to really be able to experience your home. That's why people buy. They buy by lifestyle. Another huge thing about Sotheby's, Sotheby's is the only company that displays properties by lifestyle. So if you have a home that's on a golf course, that's in a country club, that's on a lake, that's 3 different avenues that nobody else has. We will put it in special advertising for golf. We will put it in special advertising for lakefront. We'll put it in special advertising for country club living. And that's why that listing checklist is really extensive and you got to fill out as much as you can because we're going to push that through Sotheby's and they're going to take it and advertise it based on lifestyle. And let me tell you, higher net worth folks are not looking for, I want to have 4,000 square feet or 8,000 square, right? They're looking for lifestyle. What is that space going to do for them, right? So they want to have an open field, going out to the lake, jumping on their boat, like whatever, getting eaten by an alligator. No, I'm just kidding. So could happen in Central Florida, but we weren't talking about that.
Carrie, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Just curious. The element of staging, what would be the benchmark for that?
Okay. So that's going to be on you, the agent, right? And great question, because as we get to what is your value proposition, Carolyn, what are you going to do different? So here's an example. Having worked for the builders for over 12 years, I look at a home from the perspective of the buyer. I have been through hundreds of thousands of buyers. And I know when they walk in a home where they walk first and what they're hoping to see in that kitchen and how having a more open space is going to make them feel more welcome. So I'm going to help you be able to stage this home. I'm even going to have a professional stager come in for about an hour to assist us to make sure we are really getting your home so that when somebody walks in, they are seeing it from the eyes that they're wanting to see it from. They're seeing it from, you know, it's important to understand the mindset of the buyer, which is why the other thing I'm going to do for you, and I've already done it, let me bring it out, is I've already created a buyer profile who I feel would want to purchase your home and why. Because again, most companies, their whole plan is to do the 3 Ps, right? put it in the MLS, place a sign in the yard and pray somebody else sells it. We don't do that. We are all about making sure that we are deciding and understanding who would want to live in your home and why, and then who can afford your home and where are they coming from. And then we're going to put your home in front of the most qualified people who will appreciate all of the unique values that your home brings, the unique features and benefits that nobody else has. And those are the folks we're going to make sure that we're going to be in touch with. And we're going to get our colleagues in whatever area they live in to assist us with that. I don't know about you guys, but that sort of tied it all together, right?
Right.
So again, to me, why Sotheby's? Obviously our exposure, obviously our auction house, right? Obviously the fact that you're in a bazillion. By the way, if you go to ListSync, there is over 100 and some odd different websites. We're in Sweden, we're in Norway, we're in, there's Thailand. That one's really cool, by the way. If you can get the Thailand one to show, it looks really neat. So we are in all of these different places. We do that on purpose because are there people who are very wealthy in Thailand?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are, right?
Yeah, a lot of Bitcoin.
A lot of Bitcoin, right? So we want to make sure that we are giving your home the best opportunity to find the most qualified buyer. Because isn't that our job?
Yes.
Right? It's not about pricing it low and just getting someone to buy it quickly. It's about helping you to get the most qualified buyer in the quickest amount of time and the least amount of hassle to you, right? That's our job. So that's how we tie that together. Why Southern Premier is, again, because we have a whole internal marketing team. It's like a marketing machine inside of our company, all prepared and ready to showcase your home with its unique features in a way that no other home is being showcased, so it can stand out. Listen, doesn't every homeowner think their home is better than everybody else's?
Yeah.
Right? Play to that. Because that is absolutely true. And we do have to make it, unique, stand out from the sea of same, right? That's our job. And the why you, that's on you. You have to figure out what is it that you bring to the table, right? Now, again, each one of you is different and unique. You all have some fabulous different reasons of why they should work with you. Please don't say because I'm hardworking and I'm going to, knowledgeable. Right? If you're not, what the heck are you doing on my team? Like you should be. Like we should all be. That is not your unique value proposition. Yeah, that's right. If you write down a bunch of words and they seem like you're talking about your puppy, don't use those words, right? Because even then your puppy could sell the home. So you have to come up with something unique about you. So I'll share one thing I always said about myself is the fact that being an opera singer, first of all, I have the opportunity of speaking 6 different languages. So if I find that there are people that are interested in your home from one of the 6 different, one of the different countries that speak the languages that I speak, it makes it so much easier for me to reach out and help translate and make sure that those people are seeing your home. But also, because I'm an opera singer, I look at the home from a different perspective. I look at it from an artistic view because so many people, 80% of people are visual. And I want to make sure that as soon as they see your home, they see it from that same artistic view. That's why they capture the idea of that home and they can't forget your home. So we're going to look at making sure we get those beautiful pictures and we showcase them first. When we do the social media, that the social media that we're showing in your home shows that lifestyle that make people want to live there. Right? That's what I would say about myself. So anybody want to share what they'd say about them?
Sure. Well, I would say because my background as a business analyst and also a cryptocurrency blockchain expert, I'm able to see a bunch of things from a different way. And with Sotheby's being an international brand, a lot of the people that I already know that are interested in moving to Florida, because 1,600 people move to Florida a day, it goes along with our word exposure. Being an analyst, I can analyze your list, their list, and make a match for the people that are looking for your home, whereas other people may not be able to make that match. They don't have an analytical background.
I'd hire them. How about you guys, right? So it's all about the why you. So I'm going to be asking, if I haven't asked you, I'm going to ask you, what's your why you? And if you have trouble, because a lot of people do, they don't like to talk about themselves, we're going to come up with that. You've got to, it's like, people say your elevator speech. You've got to be able to quickly and concisely explain to them how the process of working with you is going to be different and how it's going to help them sell their home for more money in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort. That is the goal. Not because you're there to be knowledgeable and dedicated and work all the time. Okay, so we're going to assume that you're doing those things. So that's that. So now we have to talk about the commission. Do not miss this conversation. Those of you who skip commission and think, "Oof, I dodged a bullet." No, you didn't. That baby's coming up later. So
The bullet's chasing you.
yeah, that thing is gonna come hit you anyway. So, however you want to explain that, you can say, and the most amazing thing for all of those services, we only charge 7%, and that's for us and the buy side. Can you imagine? And as they choke, right? That's when we can now negotiate. Well, share with me. So Jen, throw out an objection about price.
Oh man, I just had another agent come in and he's offering me 5%.
Fabulous. Is he putting your home in the Juwai in China, in the Nikkei in Japan, the Financial Times in India, and getting in front of the auction clientele?
No, I think he just mentioned the MLS and maybe a couple flyers.
So were you hoping to get the most for your home, or you're just trying to sell it quickly?
No, I want the most for my home.
So you could see how all this extra exposure that obviously costs a lot of money would help, right?
Definitely.
So how's that 7% sound now?
Ooh, it's still kind of high, but it sounds good.
Let me ask you, what's more important to you? On the closing statement, the amount of money that goes to your pocket or the amount of money you paid to Premier Sotheby's? What's more important to you?
In my pocket.
In your pocket. So as long as we can actually use all these tools and resources to get you the best price, you feel comfortable with that.
Yes.
Fabulous. Or we could sit down and say, so, maybe we don't need to do the drone on you, or maybe we, right? So how about this? What if we don't do the drone, but we do the Matterport and we can do it for 6.5? Does that work? Right? This is when we negotiate our price. But if you start at 6, guess what? You're going to be done at 5. If you start higher, let them choke and vomit. Now we can get them down to 6, right? That's the goal. Or you could be totally creative. You can say, listen, I understand. Obviously there's a lot of things we can talk about with commissions. The fact that a lot of people that are taking 5% are putting your home out there and offering it to the other side to sell it for 2.5%. And as sad as this concept is, there are agents who won't even show your home. As a matter of fact, part of the search is the commission they're going to be receiving. So that's a terrible thing, but it's the nature of our community, of our industry. We want to make sure that everybody is seeing your home. So we don't want to do that. We have to make sure we're offering them 3%, right? I mean, go from strength. That is true, guys. That is true. But if you need to be creative, you could say all sorts of things like, listen, if we find the buyer, because even though we're doing double, we'll be able to give you a discount, go with that one. You could go to, I tell you what, even though it's going to cost us more, the longer your home is on the market, the more it costs us too. So how about if we sell it within this time, this is the commission. If we could sell it in this time frame, this is the commission. We've done that, right? Be as creative as you want, but don't just give up your commission because guess what? Then they think less of the job you're doing. Right? If you just got something super cheap and if you paid your hard-earned money full price, which one are you going to treat nicer?
Exactly.
Right? Now, listen, if somebody gives me a pair of Jimmy Choos, I'm going to love it regardless. I'm just saying that, throwing that out there. But at the end of the day, though, right, if you've really worked hard for something, you're going to make sure that it keeps shiny and nothing happens to it, right? So people really do put a value on how much they're paying you. So you got to get down to what's more important. Is it the commission or how much they're making? And again, sometimes we have to resell as to why it costs more to do all these things. Right? It does. It's not free to do all this stuff. It costs money. So any questions on that? No, everybody's like, I'm going to start getting 10%. I love that. That would be awesome. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is another, and then you say, well, now that we've covered that, I want to see your home. Now you have the opportunity to go see that home, bring back down that stress. Also, for example, I had a situation with a woman who told me how much she loved her shoes. And when I saw that closet, oh my God, it was an explosion. But these weren't Jimmy Choos. They were, Target and whatever, And had I not known how important those shoes to her, I might have said, oh God, we got to clean all this up, maybe in a nice way. And she might have been truly offended. But because I knew she loved all her shoes, I was able to say, oh my gosh, you weren't kidding. What a collection. We need to make sure that we put all these away so nothing happens to them. I really meant to say, just get them the hell out of there. They look horrible. But I didn't say that because I knew how important those shoes were to her, right? So that's the other really good thing. By the time you're seeing the home, The other great thing I'm going to share with you about seeing the home is this is a great opportunity to also put yourself back into that plan of the fact that they've already hired you. So what does that mean? That means that I'm going to say, I'd love for you to show me your top 5 best, unique, favorite, whatever things that you love about this home. And that way I can take some pictures, maybe do a little social media, start getting some things going, right? What did I just do? I assumed the sale. We're already starting marketing, right? So this is another great way you can use that. Then you come back to the table and you start the pricing conversation, right?
Right.
So this is a thing that I love to do. It's really great in the competitive situation. You do whatever you want, but I have found this really works. So Jen, I know a lot of people all talk about, you know, the CMA, that comparative market analysis. And remember, it's mostly because their whole thought is to put your home in the MLS and let other people sell it. Mm-hmm. Now, we are, of course, going to look at the comparative market analysis as well, but we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to look at it from the perspective of the appraiser, not just the agent's view, but we want to see what the appraiser is going to look at. So we're definitely going to give you that data, but we're going to do it from a different angle. But the most important thing is, instead of just a CMA, we are going to do a power sellers report, because we want to put you in the driver's seat. Sounds good, right? What is it? Here it is, power sellers report. Wow. You make it look any way you want to. What is it? It's a CMA with a printout of their home in Zillow or Trulia or Redfin or Realtor.com. Pick 3. I wouldn't do more than 3. This is going to help you tremendously with price, okay? Because we all know, I have yet in all my years have ever seen a home be the same price on more than one website, right? It's always a different price. And you pick the ones that are going to help explain where your price needs to be, right? Sometimes they'll show right up front how much they paid for it, because, you know, they paid nothing for it because they picked it up for whatever. I love these. They picked it up for 1.2 and now they want to sell it for 2.5 a year later. Well, how much stuff did you do to it? Not much. Okay, right? So there's a lot of websites that show how much they bought it for last year. So this is important they see this. So what I say is, you know, again, the importance of putting you in the driver's seat is we are looking for the buyer. We're not just putting it out for other agents to sell it. We want to find you the buyer. So we need to understand what the buyers are already looking at, what they're going to be seeing, and you put them down. It's another great opportunity for you to explain why those estimates are always off. Because you imagine, this is an automated system. They don't know that you have this beautiful lake view, or that your neighbor has got this huge, you know, pole in the middle of their yard. They can't see those things, so they're not calculating for them, right? So that's why these valuations are all different. But for us, the most important thing is to understand what the buyers are seeing, so that we can counteract and explain why it costs a different price, or what the value are.
Why your neighbor's got a pole.
Why your neighbor has a pole in their yard, right? Exactly, whatever. The fact that it was a sinkhole home next door, right? Whatever the case may be. That happened recently. So does that make sense, guys? So the Power Sellers Report is a pretty cover. You can take mine, you can do your own. It is a CMA. I personally like RPR. Cloud CMA has that great live one now too. You could use that. But take just 3 screenshots of whichever ones will help you the most with the automated valuations. Now you could use the one right from our website, but I have to tell you this, you have to include Zillow. I hate it, but you got to include it because they're all looking at it.
So this shouldn't be no more than about 5 or 6 pages.
What do you mean, your Power Sellers Report?
Right.
It should be 3 that you show in terms from the buyer side, like what they're looking at. I like 3 properties. I don't like to show them 50 properties.
Right.
Now, I don't know if I'm with an accountant, if I'm with, you know, somebody who today is a golfer, but yesterday was an accountant or whatever. So I will keep in my bag. I like to have expireds. What expired? I like to have, I might show what's active, but I keep that in my bag. I like to let them know, pendings are the worst, right? I really want them to see solds, because that's the only one we truly get the idea of what the bank will appraise it for. Like the pending thing's not going to help us. We have no idea what it's sold for. Active, do banks actually consider actives? No, they consider solds. So remember, we're looking at it from an appraiser's perspective. So that's what we're looking at. But absolutely, would I have those other ones in my bag? Yes, because sometimes you need to pull them out to help explain. And I always like to do the summary. It's not pretty. I do it right from the MLS, but shows the average price per square foot. They need to understand that. As much as they think the fact that they put a $40,000 fake grass outside for their puppy is going to help them, Okay, it's not that appraiser's not going to care. Maybe they'll give them a couple grand for it. That's about it.
You're talking about the stats.
Yes. So when you go into MLS and you pull up the neighborhood, you pull up the solds, and then you hit stats, tabular. I always use it. It's ugly, but I always include it. I like the fact that it's ugly. It's just data. That's all we're showing, right? Any questions about that? So that's my Power Sellers report. Nice. Okay, so once you come to a price, then I go right into our close. And where is the close? That's terrific. Where is my close? Here it is. You guys, again, I'll have these if you want them on the calendar invite. So this is something that I have been using for a very long time that is really, really fun. It is a summary close. So in new homes, this is something that we do. Carolyn van der Zijden will be very comfortable with this. You know, you do the tour very much in process. You go from A to B to C to D, because if you go to Z and back to P and over to Q, you're going to miss something, and they're going to say, I have to think about it. So it's critical that you hit everything. And I think the same is true in a listing presentation. So we would take them, when they first walk in, we take them to the map. Why do we take them to the map? I hate when people skip the map. The map is not to show them where we're located. They got there. They know where we're located. The map is a way for a distraction for us to talk about what's important to them in this area. Where do they spend their time? Where do they go to school? Where do they go to work? What's all, right? Motivation, that's what we use it for.
Right.
Then we go to the different floor plans. Again, we're trying to get an idea of how they're going to use the space, right? Same kind of thing. Then we go to the topo board because we want to talk about the home sites and what you are hoping to do. Are you going to be outside a lot? Do you want to be on water? Do you hate the water and you hate the idea of alligators and you really want to be against the wall because it's more protective and you don't have the money anyway, so it really works out good. We can sell you an included lot, right? But we figure all that out before we even go into a model. And then we'll either take them to a model or a model and an inventory, right? Depending. Don't take them to 20 because too much, right? We want to really narrow it down. Then we take them out into the home site if this is a to be built, and we walk the home site and we ruin all of our shoes. And we talk about how they're going to live here and imagine sitting beside the pool with a glass of wine, watching the fireworks, right? We're going to put them right in the picture. And we're summary closing them. So we say, I know we are so excited that you have found the perfect location so you're close to work and you've got the kids over here at school and then you can be close to your bunco group. And then we found the community that you have that clubhouse so you can send the kids off and have parties there and you don't have to worry about having the parties in your home. And I know the most important thing to you, which I'm so excited we found, was that huge kitchen with that enormous island because you love to make those cookies and you have so much space to put all the different toppings out there, including all the mess you're going to do with the flour. I can't wait. You got to call me. I'm going to join and jump in. And then when you finally put the kids to bed, you're going to get to sit out here with that glass of wine and see that amazing fireworks and just be able to enjoy the fact that you're in Florida. So the question is, are we ready to go ahead and put down 10% or do you need to start with 5? Right? Summary close. That is exactly what a summary close is. You're going to do the same thing in a listing presentation. Okay? So I am so excited that not only are we going to do the Matterport, but we're going to make sure that we even do some extra advertising to New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, and California, because we've seen a lot of people from California buying this home. I'm writing it down. And we're going to do it all for 6.5%. But listen, don't tell all your friends, because when you refer me to everybody, they're going to expect the same deal. You can't do that. And you write down whatever that percentage is. Write it down. And then you say, and I feel really comfortable starting with the price. We're going to start with 1.2. But if we haven't had X amount of showings and X amount of offers in 2 weeks, a week, 3 weeks, whatever it is, we're going to lower the price this much. Do that, guys. Put that down there. Get them to agree to price drops in the beginning. You will be so thankful you did, because when it's price drop time, you can say, again, like we talked about the market, I think what we're seeing here, right? It's not you. You weren't wrong. You're not doing anything wrong. As we said, the market, we tested it. This is what it said, right?
Yep.
Then I know we shared, of course, you're going to be getting the Pulse report every week, showing you all the things we're doing. And then you're going to get the report from Sotheby's saying how it's all working. But again, I really want to make sure that I'm speaking to you as well. So I like to call on Mondays or talk on Mondays because the market speaks the loudest over the weekend. Is Mondays okay for you? Do you prefer morning, afternoon, evening? What's best?
Mornings are fine.
Mornings are good. And would you prefer a phone call, a text, or an email?
Just send an email. That's fine.
Oh my God, she's my favorite customer. Just send an email. Love it. Write it down. She's told me when she wants me to communicate, how she wants me to communicate. I mean, awesome, right, guys? Now just make sure you do that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's one thing to set that expectation. It's another thing to not do it. You just killed everything. And then, okay, I feel great about that. Now, the last question I have, and this is such a benign question, which is why I love it. Which day do you want to go live? You always get that. I don't know. What the hell's the difference? Well, they always say, Carrie, what do you think? I love that one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, some people think Tuesday. Tuesday's a great day. Get people excited before the weekend. But other people think Thursday. Hit them over the head. Boom. Get the most attraction for the weekend. Which would you prefer?
I think Thursday.
Thursday's fabulous. Okay, so we'll have the photographer come this day. What, right? We're going to put all that down. Terrific. Sign here. Now, what are they signing? Nothing. But they feel like they signed something. So whether you bring out the contract and you do it right there, or you talk about the contract there, or you go home and fix up the contract and talk to them on the phone, however you want to handle that contract conversation, they feel as if they're in contract with you already, although they just signed a piece of paper. The other thing is that everything you wrote on here, you can put down the dropping in price. That's huge. Add that to additional terms, right? Add that to additional terms. If they feel really good that they got that Matterport and everything included for 6%, put that on additional terms. It doesn't matter. Matterport, included for 6%. I mean, make them feel like they really are getting a great value. Everybody wants a good deal, right? So if everybody feels like, well, we're just paying more for you because you're Sotheby's, they're always going to go after your commission. Always. You got to make them feel like they're getting a great deal. And everything costs money, right? It does. If you wanted to put an ad in the New York Times, how much do you think that costs? It's hundreds of dollars. We're doing it all the time throughout the entire listing. That's part of what we pay Sotheby's for. They don't need to know that, but we could come up with the value. I actually have Mode working on this of what it costs to go in the New York Times and the James edition and the Juwai in China and the Nikkei in Japan. It's expensive to do all that. So there's a huge value there. And the more you understand that, the more you can explain that to the customer and let them understand why they'd want to have that included in their marketing plan. Okay. Now, which day do you want your listing to go live is a totally benign question. Yeah. The reason for that is because you want to get to an alternate choice close. You do not want to say, are you ready to list with me? Ugh, horrible question. Don't ever say that. When do you want to get started? That's okay. Open-ended. No yes or no questions. Because you got 50% chance you're going to say no. Don't do that. The other thing is, the benign is great because it takes the question of whether they want to list you off the table. I never asked you that because I just assumed that because, of course, we're working together, right? Some people like, where do you want to put your sign in your yard? I hate that one because people get all weird about, well, I don't know, there's a tree over there. I mean, oh, Jesus. And you just missed the whole point and you lost your momentum, right?
We sprinkle our grandma's ashes next to the
mailbox. I know. Well, the dog was buried underneath. Yeah, like, there's just so many weird things that can come up from the sign in the yard question. And then guess what? The sign people come out and they put it somewhere else anyway. And then they get mad because you talked about where you're going to put the sign. And oh my God, don't do it. Don't do it. So which day you want to go live? Guys, does it matter which day? No, there's no benefit, in my opinion, one day over another. If you really think there is, use those days. I don't think so at all. So that's just a thought. Any questions on what we've covered? Because I think we're over, probably, because I do that. Yep, we're over. Sorry. That is my suggestion on a listing presentation. Thoughts? Questions? Blank stares.
I love it.
Tony loves it. Yay! Jen's coming. Woohoo! Anybody else want to ask any questions? Jules?
It was great. It was very, very good. And I am sure that, if I was an opera singer, all the words and the flow would be much better. But really, it's actually very good. And I think that especially some of the points that you cover, not to tour the house before, which it was engraved in my brain to always tour the house and then talk about it. That was brilliant. And I will start doing that. Yesterday, it didn't quite work that way because I had toured the house and you had not. So, I messed up.
Totally different yesterday. We were trying to reconnect, trying to show them how we were going to market differently, trying to build value. It was totally different. So yeah, don't worry about that. It was totally different, but we still may get it. Woo! Okay. So Thank you, Jules.
Thank
Peter, you want to share something? You came back on camera.
I can share a few things. So we have a listing presentation that we always bring. It's handy to leave things that they can see and touch and feel, and it distracts them because you have usually it's a husband-wife combo, totally opposites attract, right? So you have two different personalities. So you got to like me, I'm distracted. You get this over in 10 minutes. So you got to give that guy something to read or do something else because he's not listening to you after the first 5 minutes. So we always do that, but always answer their questions ahead of time. So like with the list track report that Gary had, so I joke about it. I said, this is when when you look at the list track report, this is when we put your house on the market. This is when it hit Orlando Sentinel. And the biggest complaint that we have between sellers and agent is communication levels, right? So that helps us keep us accountable to you. You always know what we're doing. If you can't sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, you want to sign on, you can look at it. You see what Peter and his team did or didn't do. And if for any reason, if you're ever upset with me and you want to talk to Carrie, my broker, this is the first report she's going to pull and see what we did and did not do. So this is just keeping us 100% accountable because communication is the biggest thing in our industry if we ever get dinged on anything. So this report is our lifeblood of when we list your house. And this is all the feedback from all the showings. It just keeps us accountable. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, you can throw me in. I could be the bad guy anytime.
But no one's ever seen you. No, I don't think so. No one's ever called you yet, right?
No, well, a couple of people, but it's okay. We're pretty good. We're good. The truth is, if we ever had a conversation, I am pulling that report, right? That's true. I am. I'm going to see what's happening, right? Absolutely. So thank you for sharing that. And I will share one more thing if you guys have a moment. I'm going to show you one thing that I did create. Initially, I did it for Tatiani. She had an appointment, and this appointment was a Zoom, and she really wanted to get this listing, and it was a high-end listing. So we needed to have something that she could show these things, but do it on, obviously, Zoom. So basically, we took all those things, and we put it into a little book. And like I said, I did it in Presentation Suite. Anybody who wants one, we can help you. Mode can help you now because she's helping me create them for other people.
Yes.
If you don't have a listing, Tatiana has been so sweet to say you could use one of her listings, but I'm sure anybody would be happy to just reach out and that you can ask them. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Elevate your business. So this is just a little, what the heck? I want elevate your business. Is it like just so slow?
Yeah.
Oh, I keep getting this work with us. Oh, gosh. Let's see. You might have to,
Elevate dash your dash business.
I don't know if I have that. Is that what it is?
I believe.
Elevate dash your dash business. God knows what I made the URL, guys. You know me. I just, whatever. Yeah, no.
Nope.
It's right here. It's just not opening. And these little books you can text. Let's see. Oh, maybe it's so slow. Oh my gosh. I think you got it. I think we got it though. Maybe not. Or you guys can all look on here. And if anybody wants some help with this, but here's this. This is kind of basically, I'll do it really quickly for you. This is how I would go through this book. Yeah, here it is. So first off, we want you to know the company that you've chosen to work with is a company that has, we're the second largest affiliate with Premier Sotheby's, and we have done last year 5.2 billion in sales. Guess what, guys? We just crossed yesterday 6.5 billion in sales.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm probably not supposed to tell you that, but it's so exciting. Nobody heard that from me.
And that's for 2020, right?
For 2020. That's insane. Nobody start sharing that though, because I'll get in trouble. I probably wasn't supposed to tell anybody that. I'm awful with secrets. So I'm sure Budge wants to share it. Sorry, Budge. Okay. Additionally, our number one job is exposure. So we want to put your home in front of the most qualified people worldwide who are going to appreciate your home and have the funds to purchase your home. So we're going to make sure it's going into all of these publications, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Mansion Global. I mean, you can see there's tons of them. And then Every week you're going to get this report from us. This is going to tell you exactly what we're doing. It shows you from each home has their own website. It'll show you exactly who's clicking on your website, who's seeing the larger photos, who's clicking on the details. It's going to tell you the type of activity, where they're coming from. Are they on Apple TV? Are they on Nextdoor? Where are they looking? And then you'll see all of these places. You can see your home in the Orlando Sentinel. You can see the blog that we just featured in. You can click on any of these and actually see your homes. For example, you can click and see your home in the James Edition. And you can then see also why we want to put your home in the James Edition. If you notice, the average household income in the James Edition is $250,000. These are the kind of people we want to make sure your home is in front of. We're going to make sure you're in the New York Times, because not only is their household income over $382,000, but look how many countries are actually looking at the New York Times. It's not just New York. In addition to the United Kingdom and Canada, they're in wonderful places like Hong Kong and Japan, where they have tons of income, where they love to purchase here. We're going to make sure that Mansion Global is featuring your home, because again, it's not just about that household income. They have almost 6 million views a month in Mansion Global. We want to make sure that your home is getting that kind of exposure. We are the only company that has been included in Emirates Air in-flight video. So when those sheiks are flying from Dubai direct to Orlando, they're seeing only Sotheby's properties. And then within hours of your home being on the MLS, our marketing team is going to create all of these items for you, customized just for your home. And we'll be able to send just listed, not only to our sphere, not only to people we know are interested, but also to top agents that we know may also have people. We'll be able to also offer broker opens or virtual open houses or whatever you feel comfortable with. We are going to be able to send you the market information for your community. We're going to be able to, so you can tell, what are your neighbors doing? How many homes have sold? How many other homes have come on the market? And then you're going to every week hear from Sotheby's, and they're going to tell you how all this marketing we're doing is working. And that's what this report's going to look like. So it's going to tell you the top websites that they're coming from, so we can focus on that. It'll give us the top 100 cities and zip codes worldwide. But my favorite part is they're going to tell us what actual offices are looking. So you can see here, this particular home, Encore Sur, has been very engaged. That's one of our Sotheby's companies. So we're going to go ahead and reach out to our affiliates over there in Encore, and we're going to say, hey, I see that you have a lot of folks looking at this home. What can we give you to help you find the right customer? We're going to work together to help sell your home. And with all this information, we're going to be able to create a hyper-targeted advertising campaign to get it in front of the most qualified people. And we're also going to put it all over the internet, Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads. So you're going to be able to click and see your home all these places. And what's great is, because these are hyper targeted based on that data that we received, we'll be able to collect all these leads of the people who are truly interested in your home. And that way we can reach out to them direct. And the only reason we can do that is because we have the voice of luxury. That's it. Yeah. What do you guys think? Anybody want that book?
Yes. Do we have access to that as that example, or?
No, that's one from my, so Presentation Suite. You can reach out to Mode, and she can help you. And if you have any, no, Presentation Suite, anybody can do it, but they don't have that template. That's a Carrie created template.
So we can reach out to Mode and ask her for an example of Elevate Your Business book?
Well, she can help. You just say the listing book that Carrie created.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way you guys can all get one. Yeah. I just feel like it's, especially if you had an iPad, you could be flipping through. I also like in an iPad just putting pictures in a photo album and going through. I mean, it's just so easy. But I wanted to share that because that basically hits on those things that we were talking about. Well, guys, I have enjoyed spending this time with you. Thank you all for being with me here today. Anybody else? What was that?
Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else want to share any or have any questions before we call it a day? I also want to remind you that I am going to take off. I know, this is crazy. Next week and the following week. What? So Cindy Pennington, Jennifer Rosado, and Caroline Corotis, who's out of the Claremont office, but they can all assist you. Any administrative stuff that you need at all, you need to find out something from accounting, any of those things, my team can assist. If you need anything from marketing, go right to Mode. She can assist. But if you have a contract question, contracts can't wait, you can text me. Definitely text me, because we do not want to let any contract situations arise that we could have taken care of. So please, contract questions, feel free to reach out to me, anything like that. Marketing Mode, anything administrative or something to do with accounting, just reach out to Cindy Pennington, Jennifer Rosado, or Caroline Corotis. Good, any questions? Okay. Well, thanks for coming, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.